Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday, but it kind of feels like Thursday because it's a short week. That's a good thing. There's still plenty to talk about here, and we're glad you're spending some time with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. It's Pro Day over at LSU. We'll get to that. LSU gets a win over the Southeastern Lions at the box last night. We'll talk about that with Chris DeMui coming up in 15 minutes. Got some audio from Dennis Allen. It's a What If Wednesday. What else do we got? I can scroll down the sheet. Preston Guy going to be with us at 2 o'clock talking Pro Day. I've got some SEC baseball power rankings. So plenty to get to, and glad you are locked in with us. We'll start with Pro Day over at LSU. We know this is among the most high-profile Pro Days around the country because of the three guys who were a Heisman Trophy winner, a couple of All-Americans, and very likely first-round NFL draft picks. That's Jaden Daniels, who will throw maybe right now, maybe a couple minutes ago, maybe in an hour. I'm not exactly sure. And who will throw to Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors. Now, Brian Thomas put on a show at the NFL Combine. He ran sub 4.4. He was measured. Everything was fantastic. He's going to take it easy today during the testing part and just go and run routes with Jaden Daniels. Malik Neighbors got up to the Combine and said, I'm good. I'm just going to hang out. I'll get on the whiteboard. You can check out the injury stuff, look at the medicals. See y'all in Baton Rouge for Pro Day. And Jaden Daniels said the exact same thing. So today is their day to put together an on-campus workout to try to impress the teams toward the top of the draft. Impress Malik Neighbors has done. That is very, very clear. Malik Neighbors, who did not get measured at the Combine, was measured in today at 6 feet and 199 pounds. That's not really a huge surprise. All that is exactly in line with what we thought. Now, what would he run and what would he jump? We'll have to see. I'll take Shea Dixon's word for this. He, of course, covers recruiting over at On 3 for the Bengal Tiger. Said that Malik wasn't necessarily a huge testing guy in high school. Remember, Malik committed to Mississippi State, and LSU got in on him late and was able to flip him as an in-state player to Baton Rouge. Thankfully, that happened. Apparently, Malik didn't test off the charts in high school. I don't know if he was off the charts today, but he was way up on the charts today. 40 time. Not official, but most have him somewhere between 4.35 and 4.4. A sub 4.440, exceptional work for Malik Neighbors. Turn on the tape, the speed pops. I've seen multiple different draft guys who post videos up to Twitter suggest that the speed is Malik's best tool. How about the vertical? This was nearly off the chart. 42-inch vertical for Malik Neighbors. That would have been second among everyone at the NFL Combine. 10.9 broad was good. It wasn't necessarily right at the top, but very, very good. All Malik Neighbors did today was go out there, prove he's got plenty of physical size, elite level speed, elite level vertical. And then, oh, by the way, how about you check the stat sheet? That's going to do just fine as well. This is a guy who, as a sophomore at LSU, had a 1,000-yard season, and last year exploded for 1,569 yards and 14 touchdowns through the air. That'll work. I don't know if Malik Neighbors has done enough to become the first wide receiver off the board. I think the possibility exists. There are draft analysts and experts who are paid for their opinions who suggest he should be. But as always with the draft, it's in the eye of the beholder. You don't have to win over all the organizations. You got to win over one. Marvin Harrison Jr. may be the guy. Malik Neighbors may be the guy. Maybe somebody falls in love with Rome Odunze. I would doubt that, but it's possible. Lots of things are possible. But Malik Neighbors has done everything that he is needed to do. He showed up at LSU, has been a model teammate, has been a massively productive football player, has participated in a lot of winning, has gone on to do the testing, has passed it with flying colors, and at this point, his work is nearly done. You could go to do some workouts for some teams, visit with some teams, and he certainly will do that. But this is a guy, in my opinion, who is firmly in the top 10 and likely closer to 6 in the NFL draft if I had to start looking. Some people might back up a little bit based on how many quarterbacks get snatched up early. If all of a sudden the first 4 picks are quarterbacks, well, that changes the math a little bit. Depends on how much teams like J.J. McCarthy and who wants to be aggressive to move up. All we really feel like we know at this point is that the Bears are going to take Caleb Williams. After that, where's Jaden? Where's Drake May? Where's J.J. McCarthy? Who wants to trade up? And then Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors. There are too many variables right there for me to firmly suggest where things are trending. But it's really, really good for Malik Neighbors, and that's awesome. As I sit here in the studio today, we've got ESPN up on one of the televisions, and Dan Orlovsky is breaking down LSU offensive tape, which I feel like every team has hours and hours and hours of because of these 3 dudes. Awesome, awesome day for Malik Neighbors at LSU's Pro Day. A 4.35-ish 40 time, maybe a 4.39-ish 40 time, whatever. It's sub 4.4, and it's very, very good. 42-inch vertical, elite level explosiveness, solid broad jump, measured out really well. I have no doubt he'll run routes and look very good in that portion of things whenever that is this afternoon. Jaden Daniels, sitting everything out except the measurements, and then he will go throw. He measured in at 6'3", 210 pounds. That's good size. He's not 235 pounds. He's probably not going to be 235 pounds. And that could be a knock on him if that's the way you want to handle things. But I've also heard Dan Orlovsky talk about Jaden Daniels. Dan had some LSU games this past year, has looked at a lot of tape. He's breaking it down now on SportsCenter, and he says this is the first pick in the draft. You should take him. We'll see if that happens or not. I have my sincere doubts about that, but it's very, very possible, if not likely, that Jaden Daniels would go at number 2. Twitter is reporting that Jaden Daniels is going to make about 55 throws today. I'll do so in the comfortable confines of the LSU indoor facility with some guys that he's had a 2-year relationship in Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors. I anticipate that goes exceptionally well.
There's already some video coming up with him throwing to Brian Thomas, Mason Taylor, and Malik Neighbors as well.
Oh, Mason Taylor's out there. That's cool. And that's, obviously you want to have a tight end in there to run some of those routes and do some of those things. Every time LSU's going to have a quarterback throw, certainly Jaden did, certainly Joe. Every time a quarterback throws at Pro Day, I can't help but think of Jamarcus Russell. It's just to where you automatically have to go. Todd McShay walked out of the indoor facility that day and said, that's the greatest workout I've ever seen in my entire life. And we know the rest of that story. So, look, I struggle to think that Jaden Daniels' Pro Day is going to have a lot to do with where he's selected in the draft. I could get on board with maybe Tim Tebow's Pro Day needing a little bit more. He had completely changed his throwing motion. He realized that the offense that he ran with Jeff Demps and Chris Rainey and all those guys at Florida wasn't what he was going to have to do in the NFL when he was selected. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a showcase of some significant change there. If there's somebody who's been playing at a lower level that needs to go out there and spin it around a little bit because he's a little bit unknown and they're not really sure of the competition level, okay, I can maybe get on board with that. This guy has played 2 years in the SEC. He's carved teams up for 2 years. He was the best player in the country this year. He's got plenty of arm strength. He's got elite-level athleticism. He's got all the production you could possibly need. If some teams want to take a look at him at Pro Day today, that's great. I think everybody pretty much understands where things stand with Jaden Daniels. I'm sincerely hopeful that he goes second in the draft. I would love it if he went first, but it's just all indications are the Bears have settled in there on Caleb Williams. But today, I think a day that Jaden Daniels probably looks forward to. I'm not sure how consequential it is. Now, there were other players working out for LSU today that weren't Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas and weren't Malik Neighbors. I think the guy right now, and we don't have all the available information from Pro Day. That'll come out in a press release at the end, and they'll throw us some times, and we'll see as things kind of leak out on Twitter. But I will say that Jordan Jefferson measured in today at 6'3", 316 pounds, and ran a sub-5 40-yard dash. 4.91 was one of the times I saw. There was a tweet that potentially some of the scouts had some 4.8 second times. I think that's very, very good. Jordan Jefferson is a guy that I believe will be drafted. He did some nice things for LSU this past year. He was a starter at West Virginia for a couple of years, and the measurables are pretty good here. So, look, big guys that can move are the most valuable commodity because they're the hardest ones to find. There are a lot of guys who are 6'1", 195 pounds that can run. Like, that's a very findable thing. Guys that are 6'3", 315 pounds that move pretty well, a little bit tougher to find. Hopefully Jordan Jefferson's performance today, where he ran a pretty good time, is one that will grab some people's attention, and he can get pulled off the board at some point there in the middle rounds. If we get full updates over the course of the next hour and 50 minutes, I'll be sure and dive into that as deep as we can. Preston Guy is going to be with us at the top of hour number 2 at 2 o'clock, so we'll certainly talk about all this with Preston. But really, really good day for Malik Neighbors. Brian Thomas's hay is in the barn from a testing perspective, and I'm excited to hear what some of the people thought and what Jaden thought about how he threw the ball today, even though I think everything's going to be just fine in the Jaden Daniels camp. So that's a look over down the street at LSU's Pro Day. Saints were in attendance for LSU's Pro Day. I realize that a lot of people were skeptical about that all the time. The Saints actually put a video up of Malik Neighbors running the 40 on their official Twitter feed, which I thought was interesting. I don't know how oftentimes NFL teams broadcast pro days, but I understand the local connection there, so thrilled about it. I don't think they're going to get Malik Neighbors. If they do, they've traded up and used a lot of assets that I don't think they should use to go get him, but interesting nonetheless that they did have that on their Twitter feed. All right, we'll take a time out. When we come back, what are we talking about? Chris DeMui is going to join us. Talk a little baseball. We'll do that next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show.
ESPN Bet is ready to take you through all the huge moments this spring. The exclusive sportsbook of ESPN has it all, including exclusive offers and promotions from Scott Van Pelt and Stephen A. Smith. From the playoff intensity to getting on the links and out to the ballpark, there's no better time to be a sports fan. Sign up today. New users get $100 in bonus bets for making any sportsbook bet. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with the Bears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
Dance continues this Thursday night at 6 and Friday night at 6 in the Sweet 16. Then Saturday at 5 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. in the Elite 8. Listen to the 2024 men's basketball tournament right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Got some What If Wednesday questions scrolling through on Twitter. We'll get to those in 15 minutes. Usually on Fridays we talk to our guy Chris DeMui, but this Friday we will not have a show. So I figured, hey, let's move it up a couple days, talk some baseball with the former Tiger national champ and Southpaw. Chris, how are you?
Doing good, hon. How are you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Is LSU in some trouble?
I think if they get swept this weekend, they are. I'm not ready to hit the panic button, but I think it's a concerned, I think, would be a good way to put it. You know, I definitely think that if they can make it through the next 3 weekends, trying to take one game at least, then they have a chance to make it some things on the back end.
Probably. What's your biggest concern?
I think, the hitting is still a concern for me, right? We talked about it since I've been on your show at the beginning of this year. It's just the ability to hit consistently throughout the game. While they may score a couple times, they just have trouble putting up crooked numbers. And then the bullpen has been a little shakier than I thought it would be. I think they're still looking for a couple of I trust Ackenhausen, Herring, and Guidry, but who else do they have? Some of those guys who I thought were going to be prominent really haven't necessarily shown up the way I thought they may. So, and then the last thing, I'll be honest, as a former player, that really concerns me are the past 2 Sundays.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm not in that locker room. I have no idea what's going on, but that's a bit of concern for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us from the outside to talk about effort and intensity and engagement and all that kind of stuff. But what's your instinct tell you, having been in those dugouts before?
It's I don't know. I feel like little things when you can't really hit sometimes, or you don't hit great. A lot of times, little things become compounded more. We've talked about pitch execution before, and how that's kind of come back to haunt them. And it's just things just kind of spiral out of control. And it's tough when you win a national championship to come back and a lot of those leaders are gone. You never know how people are going to react. And this program, as weird as this statement may sound to some people, they're still learning how to win at an elite level with the people they have here now. They learned how to win last year based off the veteran leadership, but now they have to do it themselves. So they can't really look around and say, who's going to lead us? They have to look in the mirror and say, well, I have to lead us, right? It's White, it's Travinsky. I don't know who the alpha on that pitching staff is, from a starter standpoint, from a bullpen standpoint. So to me, that's the hardest thing is, it's when you get hammered like that on Sundays and you get 10-run rules, sometimes doubt starts to creep into your mind, but then you have good things happen like they did last night in the midweek. So it's, but it'll be interesting to see how they respond this weekend because they're going into a buzzsaw in Fayetteville.
Yeah, no doubt. Arkansas has not swung the bat very well, but they can pitch it like crazy, and that crowd's going to be ready to roll on a holiday weekend. So I'm curious, you mentioned the bullpen, and you mentioned the 3 guys that everybody feels pretty comfortable with, and that's Ackenhausen, Herring, and Guidry. Of that next group, who do you think has the best chance to assert themselves? It's Lohr, Cade Anderson, Cam Johnson, Aiden Moffitt, Fidel Ulloa. Kind of where are you with that group?
Initially I would say Lohr. I don't know what happened to Ulloa. Maybe, I don't know if he's gotten hurt, or I know he didn't pitch last night, which was surprising to me. So I don't know if something's going on with him from a health standpoint. But I would say Lohr and Ulloa, just from what they've shown me. I think when you look at Johnson and Moffitt, the arm talent is unbelievable and super intriguing. man, it's just tough to put them in the grind of the SEC if they just can't consistently throw strikes, And some people say, well, why not? The other bullpen arms haven't. But I think I trust some of the older guys a little bit more right now. You've seen flashes of Helmer's, and Dutton's been there for a couple years. It's just, in the end, you need 3 to 4 starters, and you need 4, maybe 5 bullpen guys, and that's it. That's all you need to roll with is anywhere from 8 to 10 guys, and I think you got 5 or 6 right now, and you're looking for 2 or 3 more. But I would say lower and Uloa, if he's healthy, would be my 2 choices initially.
What is Thatcher Hurd?
I think, good question. I loved him on Sunday. I thought he threw great. I thought it was important for him to get off to a clean start, and he did. And then he just kind of got into a little bit of trouble and couldn't get out of it, and the bullpen came in and didn't help things. But I thought he gave you really everything you wanted, through 4+ innings, and I know we've talked about Cade Anderson making that jump to the weekend. I just don't think he's ready right now. So I think in the end, you just keep rolling with Thatcher Hurd, and you think you have enough bullpen arms that can back him up whenever he gets into trouble. But the bullpen arms have to be able to give you more than like 2 or 3 outs. Somebody's got to give you like 8 outs. So ideally, and I think he'd be great coming in after Jump, but I just don't think you have somebody else that can really take his spot right now from a number 3 guy that you trust.
So the question has been asked a couple times, and I feel like I know what Jay's going to do, but is there any chance that Luke Holman pitches on Friday of this week instead of Thursday?
I would. Look, I have a hard time predicting Jay, and I'm sure you've struggled in the past, too, especially with the lineups he rolls out, but I would be surprised if he decided to pitch off on Thursday or change the rotation, because I just don't know who else you would throw out there on Thursday that gives you a chance to win. All in all, and in the end, you're LSU. You expect to win every game. You try to win every game. If you're throwing off, quote-unquote off, I don't know what kind of message that sends to your team when you're going up against one of the best pitchers in the entire country in Hagen Smith. I mean, you got to go best on best here and have the utmost confidence in Holman that he's going to hold you, give you a chance to win. And I would be surprised if he throws off or if he changes the rotation, at least the first guy. Maybe he switches up Jump with somebody else. I don't know. But I would be surprised if Holman doesn't roll out there on Thursday.
Me too. It's just I watched Auburn lose 1-0 last week, and that's just a devastating thing to have happen if you send your ace out there, and it does. But we'll see. I anticipate Jay sends his horse out there to the mound. What's the game plan against Hagen Smith?
I don't know. He's been so good. He's torn LSU up in the past. His velocity has increased this year. Maybe you hope he's. I know LSU. Jay and them like to get to the bullpen and ride that pitch count up. The problem is if he's 0-1, 0-2 on everybody, and you're trying to ride his pitch count up, then that just makes it harder as a hitter. When he's a veteran, presence on the mound. He's been there, done that. He's got a fastball, a split, and a slider, and his fastball is probably going to be 95 to 98 from the left. I mean, you just hope he makes some mistakes, and you hope you can capitalize on it, or the fact that Arkansas doesn't hit great. So in games like this, it's little things, right? Does somebody scoring a pass ball? Does somebody drop a fly ball? Does he walk, then hit somebody, then Tommy White hits a double, and you score 2 runs, and you win, 3-2. A squeeze play, anything can happen, but it's going to be little things, and it's going to be execution.
No doubt about that. You're going to have to execute. If you don't, he'll carve you up. He's done it to everybody except the opener when he gave up 3 runs in the first 3 hitters, and it was apparently a freezing cold, rainy day in Fayetteville that day. So we'll see. Offensively, I struggled because there are so many moving pieces outside of basically it's like White and Jones have been really good. Bingham has come on, and we feel like Braswell's the shortstop. Outside of that, it's just like kind of who is it today? How do you feel about the rest of that crew, and who do you have confidence in over the next 6 weeks that kind of will assert themselves as a must-have in the lineup?
Yeah, I figured you were going to ask me this, and after the lineup came up last night, and talking with some buddies, in my head, I think you just got to go with what you got right now. So to me, it's it's White, Braswell. I put Milam at second base. I put Jones at first. Milam, even though he struggled with the bat, I just love what he gives you defensively. I stick Pearson in left, and I leave him in left. Look, I would love to have Paxton Kling in center. I just don't know if it's not a lot of people are hitting, and he hasn't hit all year. Can you have another out in the lineup when they're hitting close to 200. I don't love Bingham in center, but that's where I'd put him. And then right field's just kind of a mashup, right? I like Fry, what he gives you in terms of the DH spot. I don't know how well his shoulder is, but then if you DH Fry, that means you got to catch Travinsky, and then Milazzo gets left out of the thing. And he's been actually swinging the bat pretty well this year too. So it's and he may be the odd man out as kind of the crazy part, but to me, Milam stays at second. You put Pearson in left, and then Bingham stays in there somewhere, and then you fill in the other outfield spot, and then your DH kind of determines your catcher. And I think you just got to roll with that and just see what happens.
I don't disagree with that. Take tomorrow out of it, because Hagen Smith, to me, is the best pitcher in the conference. Moving forward, how do you feel about Luke Holman against everybody else's ace?
Let me try Vanderbilt.
I mean, just in general, not
pretty
specifically.
good. No, pretty good.
Yeah,
I think people like to downplay Holman just because he's not popping 95s and 96s. And look, even if he's 92, 93, and he has a he has a curveball, which is great. He has a slider, and he mentioned something the other day. I didn't even know he had like a little split. So then maybe that acts as his changeup. I just think he competes. He's able to locate in and out. And I think he doesn't walk people, and he's going to give you a chance. And are you going to see more contact than you're used to seeing probably on a Friday night? Because everybody thinks about schemes with recency bias, yes. But in the end, I have confidence going up with him going up against the rest of the aces in the SEC, especially from here on out. I mean, I have no other reason to doubt him. I mean, I like the fact that he bounced back this week, and he was great after having zero feel the week before, when he was at Mississippi State.
Yeah, I was very vocal that I didn't think Luke Holman was an ace as of January and into early February. I was like, that's a guy, if he's your number 2 or your number 3, you're in really, really good shape. I was thinking that Hurd and Jump are probably the 2 best guys on the staff. I've totally flipped on that because we've got 6 weeks of sample size to tell me he is clearly the ace on this team, and I think he's a high-end SEC ace at this point. He's not as good draftably or in terms of the numbers as the guy tomorrow, but after that, he's as good as everybody to me.
I mean, he's one of those guys where guys come back in the dugout and it's the 5th inning. You're like, we only got 3 hits against this guy, and I felt like I've tried to make good contact or hit a ball hard, but it goes right at people. But if you're the pitching coach, you're like, yeah, Holman's given up 3 hits. He hasn't walked anybody. He's got 6 or 7 punch-outs, and he's given up 0-1 runs. I'll take that. You love calling pitches for that guy, and it frustrates the other team. Just because he's not flashing up 97, 98 doesn't mean he's not good. I just think he goes about it in a little bit different method, and I like watching him pitch. He competes. I'll tell you that. He does give me confidence when he's on the mound, though. I always feel like he's in control of the inning, really, no matter how bad it kind of gets. He still feels like he's going to get out of it.
How do you think it goes in Fayetteville?
Well, I was wrong last week, and I was close in the 2 out of 3. I thought we had the Saturday.
One pitch.
Really, you did. Yeah, it's crazy. I think they get one somewhere. They got to get one. Obviously you want them to get 2, and I haven't paid as much attention to Arkansas this year. I know they don't hit great, but you got Tiger going, and you got Molina, the Texas Tech transfer going, and you got some dudes at the back end of that bullpen. I think McIntyre's a guy who maybe hasn't allowed a run in SEC. So it's you just hope they don't get overwhelmed by the atmosphere. I think they figure out a way to get one somewhere. I don't know where that is, but I think they get one. They come home, and hopefully we can get ready for Vandy, and they have something in store ready for those guys.
Yes, sir. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week, Chris.
Thanks, Hon. I appreciate it.
Chris DeMui, Tiger National Champ, former Southpaw. As I mentioned yesterday or Monday, on Monday's show, 13 of the 14 teams in the league got swept last year. LSU was the only one who didn't. Hopefully they can avoid that again this weekend, and maybe they can squeak 2 out. You never know. Baseball, weird things happen. We'll be talking about it a ton today and tomorrow. When we come back, it's What If Wednesday on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, safety is a big deal in the bathroom, especially as people age. If there's a loved one in your life that may live alone and the bathroom could be a hazardous spot, let David Duvall and his team come in and do some things to make things safer in the bathroom, whether it's non-slip floors, handrails, guardrails around the toilet, shower, bathtub areas. Maybe they can do a walk-in tub for you. That's something that they do all the time. Makes things more convenient and safer for the aging loved one in your life. thinking, it could be tough to pay for that, financing options are available. Get that free consultation. You can find it online at onebathandclosets.com. You can see pictures of their great work, see the testimonials from satisfied clients, and, of course, that free consultation. It's One Bath and Closets, the website, one more time, onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh, shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off the new 23 Ram 1500 SCA truck. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $22,500 off the new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined we...
The Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. This is The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hear from Dennis Allen coming up here in about 10 minutes. Close out hour number 1. We'll chat with Preston Guy from TigerBait.com at 2 o'clock about all things LSU football and Pro Day related. But for now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, first one here. What if you were advising Caitlin Clark about her future, $75,000 for the top pick of the WNBA draft, or $5 million for Ice Cube's Big 3 League. I will say, though, I have seen that it might be possible for her to play both because the Big 3 is like a short season. It's not very long. She may be able to play both, but however, in this instance, let's just say for posterity's sake that she'd have to choose between the two.
It's like a Live PGA Tour type
Yeah,
deal. Do you want to go
I think
play
so,
in the fake league for all the money, or do you want to go play in the league that exists?
And I feel like you're gonna. I feel like I know what you're gonna say though.
I don't know what Ice Cube's Big 3 League is. Is this 3-on-3?
It's 3-on-3, yeah. And
is it co-ed? Is it just?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's. I know Lisa Leslie has played in it. I don't know if she's the only female, but it's mostly like older guys that play the NBA.
Okay.
And I think other than so I know for sure there's at least one female playing.
I think
currently.
It's going to be tough for like Caitlin to play against like 6'5" ex-NBA players. Like that seems like a tall chore.
I think when you think about it at first, you're right. But however, just think about it this way: like she's a really good shooter.
Yeah.
And she is, I don't know how tall she is, but I think she's maybe a little bit shorter.
5'11", 5'10".
She's maybe like an inch or two shorter than like Steph Curry, for instance. I'm not comparing her.
Steph Curry's 6'4".
He's like
6'3".
He's 6'3". Okay, so
I don't think Caitlin Clark's 6'2".
No, she's like 2 or 3 inches shorter than Steph Curry. She can. I'm not saying she's Steph Curry, but she can shoot really well.
She's the female version.
Yeah, so I think she can still shoot. She's gonna have trouble guarding people, I think. But
well, the answer is go play in Ice Cube's Big 3 League.
Yeah, that's easy.
That's clearly the answer. But yeah, I'd go play for the Connecticut Sun too.
Yeah.
If you can do both, that sounds really good.
All right, I got a few from Twitter here. The next one: what if LSU hits the halfway point of SEC play at 5-10? Seems very realistic.
I mean, it can happen. At that point, you're talking about right now they're 2-4.
Yep.
So you're talking about going 3-6, losing the next 3 weekends, maybe getting swept one and winning one. It's possible, and that would put them very much behind the 8 ball. You'd have to go 10-5. No, you wouldn't. You'd have to go 9-6 the rest of the way to get in the NCAA tournament and go travel somewhere. But that would be. I would be far more concerned at 5-10 than I am today.
Yeah.
It is. I am concerned today. I would be far more concerned at 5-10. It kind of depends on what it looks like and how you get there.
Yep.
You know, if you're 5-10 and Holman can't get anybody out anymore and Hurd's been out of the rotation and your pitching's crumbled, then that's one thing. If you're 5-10 and you've lost a couple extra inning games on the road at Arkansas, and it depends. But in any event, any way you slice it, it makes the math look very difficult moving forward. So let's try to avoid that.
I think let's say they go 5-10. The chances of them hosting a regional,
18%.
Not great at all.
You'd have to go at least 11-4 down the stretch, which is again doable.
The schedule gets easier, but still the SEC. But all right, moving on here. What if Hunt never made it to radio?
Well, I've done a couple other things outside of sports. I was in oil and gas for a quick minute. I was in insurance for 7 years. I didn't really love either one of those. And by the end, I grew to hate insurance because of the markets and the tenor of the conversations. Every meeting I had was negative because rates are just through the roof and people don't love talking about insurance. And I just wasn't cut out for that. I think there are a lot of people in that market for insurance that love it because commissions go up. It just was on a personal level miserable every time I picked up the phone or walked in on a meeting. So I guess I'd probably still be doing that if sports wasn't quite an option. I'm not ambitious enough to try to go out on my own and create something. I needed the infrastructure here that we have it guaranteed to jump into it and do it full time. But I'm thankful that I am in radio because this is a lot more enjoyable to come to work every day and talk about pro day and baseball than it is to talk about GL policies and dealing with umbrellas and auto insurance. So yeah, let's not do that anymore.
All right, next.
My license lapsed, so I won't be doing it anymore.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah. All right, next one here. What if Paul Skeens was used by LSU like Florida uses Jack Caglione? Greatest season of all time.
Jay said last year that he would have hit 20 home runs if he only hit, and that was taking him away from pitching. It takes a lot to do both. Now, I said on Monday that Jack Caglione more resembled a horse than a human. Skeens is kind of in that class too. He's a big young man. But yeah, I don't know that I could say that Skeens would go into SEC and hit 27, 28 home runs or 31 or whatever Caglione hit last year. I think it's reasonable that if LSU played Paul Skeens at first base 2 days and then pitched him on Sundays, he would still be really, really good at both and would help LSU win. I don't think he would be as good a pitcher as he was last year. I think you can attribute that jump that he made from Air Force to what he was last year to a few things, and one of them is not catching and playing defense and hitting anymore. But no, I think if you told me I had to have either Caglione or Skeens to do both, I think I'd probably take, well, I guess it's hard for me to suggest I know.
You can't know, yeah.
What Skeens would be as a pitcher if he was hitting and playing.
And defense. Also what he would have been as a hitter, even that.
Right. Caglione's the sure thing, and I'm more prone to take the sure thing.
No.
But Caglione's even better this year as a pitcher than he was last year. He gives them a massive advantage on Sundays, and Jay mentioned on Monday, and Chris Blair has talked about this on the broadcast, that he thinks the best pitcher that they saw both SEC weekends went on Sundays. Jurangelo Senja and Jack Caglione, and you've got the back end of your bullpen kind of going against that after Hurd, and they've gotten beat doing that.
Yeah.
He's going to kind of look at that moving forward, so we'll see.
Do you think, this is kind of off topic, I guess, a little bit, but do you think Caglione does both in the next level?
I think so. If I were the organization, I think I would have him hit.
Yeah.
But I think they will do, whoever drafts him will have him do both for a little bit.
I think something that would be interesting is if a team used him as a reliever. So like he plays first base and then like
Houston Street.
Yeah, and then he pitches like as maybe, I don't know about closer, but maybe just a reliever, because I don't know if his stuff is.
Houston Street did that in college at Texas. He played third base for Texas, and they would put a catcher on the side wall between innings when the first baseman was like rolling ground balls to everybody, and he would throw pitches to the catcher as a warm-up between innings, and then he'd go into the game and try to close things. I think a lot of things are now on the table because of what Shohei Ohtani, and there are a couple of other guys that have done this. Michael Lorenzen has done this a little bit. He's kind of morphed into just a bullpen guy and a spot starter at this point, but he did pitch and hit for the Reds, so that door is more open than it was 10 years ago for sure.
All right, last one here. What if Matt McMahon has another disappointing season? I guess when they say another disappointing season, they mean like what he had in the first year, because I would say this season was not a disappointment.
Yeah, I think it would be disappointing in the grand scheme of things. Just not in the tournament. But I don't think anybody's disappointed with what they did this year.
But the question is, would LSU move on?
What does it look like?
Yeah,
is it 1-17? That
Maybe.
might fire somebody up. Is it 9-9 and you missed the tournament? No, not at all.
But the question then again becomes, who, if you move on from him, who's the better option? Like who?
Well, there are a lot of basketball coaches, and let's just be clear. I think Matt McMahon was a qualified candidate no matter what, because he had a really good run at Murray State. And I know there are people that say, well, Murray State won before, and he only won with John Morant. Well, he didn't only win with John Morant, because John Morant moved on, and the KJ Williams team that he kind of brought here was 31-3 and made the second round of the tournament without John Morant. So it wasn't just that. He won a lot at Murray State with different cores. So he was, but the fact of the matter is that LSU was in a hiring situation where it was compromised. Like you did not, in my opinion, have the full complement of a pool, because you were under the gun of the NCAA at that point. So I don't love entertaining that thought, because I just want to give him every opportunity, and I think next year is a big year for him. Right now is a big time for him to go get some transfers, but no, look, it depends on what it looks like, whether or not they want to do something. My inclination is we're not really close to that right now, because unless he built something better than he had previously. You got to take another step.
I think if they win at least like 6 or 7 conference games, that's the bottom line. I think anything less than that would make it questionable, but I think even still, I think that they signed to a 7-year contract. I think they want to give him a chance here, so I'd be surprised.
All right, let's talk some Saints to close out hour number 1. You're listening to a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
Palmer Show.
Love that whoops there
on
the mic.
Try to turn it off.
Audio Video Security Solutions, avssla.com is where you can find them. Nothing is more important than the security of you and your family. Let Mitchell Fisher and his team at Audio Video Security Solutions come over to your house and install very high-tech, clear cameras that film your property, and you have access to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've got access to my cameras on my phone wherever I am. It's recording at all the time. I can play it back. I can switch cameras and toggle in and out. I can get alerts when there's someone approaching the door or something approaching the door. It gives you the peace of mind that your family is safe, and Audio Video Security Solutions can help you with that. Give Mitchell Fisher a call. It's 225-439-7920, 225-439-720. Online, you can find him at avssla.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $7,500 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. $7,500 off plus 1.9% financing for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day. Barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. It's LSU Pro Day. We'll have all the recap, and we'll take a look at LSU baseball against Southeastern and the Pels game against the Thunder. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Dennis Allen all over the place at the GM meetings earlier this week, at LSU's Pro Day today, but we still got some sound from yesterday when he met with the assembled press at general media meetings. And I wanted to talk a little bit about LSU, the Saints' defensive line. And the biggest piece to that addition in the offseason was, of course, Chase Young. And Allen spoke to the signing of the defensive end.
Look, I don't know that I really knew that he was going to be available. And then we quickly found out that, he was going to be available and he was going to be in a range that we felt like, we could get to. I think he's extremely talented. I think he's extremely motivated. We had a great visit with him, had dinner with him the night before, then brought him over, obviously did all the medical. And I just think he's going to be a really good asset, for our defense.
And that is the point in the discussion where me, Hunt Palmer, came on this very show and said, I think this is awesome. I think this is an awesome signing for the Saints. I love that it's low downside, it's low risk. There is a significant amount of upside. It addresses a position of need. All that was super, super awesome and fun. And then we got the news that Chase Young had a neck issue that was going to have to be dealt with surgery. And that's when everybody said, huh? Well, the Saints knew about it, and Allen spoke to the Saints making the decision to sign him, even though there were some concerns about his neck.
We knew that, he was going to have this surgery. And I think the good thing for all of us involved was everybody that we talked to felt like, look, it's not a matter of if he's going to heal and be fine. It was just a matter of when. And so, I think we're kind of comfortable with the timelines that we have, and yet, it's a human body. It's going to heal at its own rate, but I know he's going to do everything he can to get himself back and get himself ready as quickly as possible.
Now, Young was fairly productive this year, playing with what we understand was a neck issue. I don't know that anybody was quite aware of it, or certainly the significance of it. I didn't know that Chase Young was headed for surgery, and I guess most people in the NFL, or certainly on the outside that observed the NFL or covered the NFL, knew about it. But the question is, how big a deal was this as Chase Young was going through this 2023-2024 season?
I think he would tell you that there were certain things that he didn't feel comfortable being able to do. And again, I think the good thing for us and for him is that, when you visit with the doctors, everybody, feels like once this problem is going to be corrected, and once it's corrected, there won't be any issue.
And that's the hope. You hope, if you're trying to look at this on the bright side, if you're trying to look at this through black and gold colored glasses, as they say, you would suggest, okay, this is a guy who was Defensive Rookie of the Year, who's been a productive player and has shown his talent level that he can play at this level. And maybe the production wasn't quite as good as you would hope at the end of his first deal, but maybe it was just because he was hampered by this neck injury, and maybe they'll fix it and he'll come back and he'll be, because he's still not an old player, he's in his mid-20s. Maybe he'll be the guy he was as a rookie. Maybe he's a 12-sack guy when he doesn't have to deal with chronic neck issues. That's the rosy side. Of course, you can throw the pessimistic side out there too that says, well, he's going to miss training camp. He's going to be late arriving into practice. He's not going to be in game shake. He's not going to get the preseason snap that he needs. And maybe he's not nearly, a full go until, halfway through the season, and all of a sudden the Saints are behind the 8 ball anyway, and they're not going to make the playoffs, and then he leaves and goes somewhere else, and you paid this money, and you didn't even get anything out of it. I mean, I can certainly go the other way. Which side is closer to the truth? It's probably somewhere in the middle, and I would hope to favor the side that says he's going to be okay. But he's the biggest addition that they have made on the defensive front. You invested 2 free agent contracts into Colin Saunders last year and Nathan Shepard, and you've got Cam Jordan, and you got Brian Brzee, and you've got Isaiah Foskey, and okay, with Granderson, is this the crew you're going to work with? Are they done at defensive line in the offseason?
I think anytime you affect the quarterback, whether it's offensively by being able to protect the quarterback or being a weapon for the quarterback, defensively being able to rush the quarterback, being able to defend the pass, those are areas that you're always looking to improve. So I don't think you can ever have enough good corners in your building. I don't think you can ever have enough pass rushers in your building.
And that's kind of the quote that I would expect. I would be shocked if a GM or head coach got a question of, are you going to do anything else? And they said, no, we're done. Team's fine. They're always say, well, we're exploring options and everything's on the table, and we're going to do what's in the best interest of the organization moving forward, put the best product on the field that we can. And that's when you get into a lot of cliches, and that's generally speaking what you're going to get from Dennis Allen, who uses a lot of cliches. Unless you're talking about the end of the Atlanta game where he comes out and apologizes for everybody. I was doing a New Orleans hit today on the radio, and the host, Big Fave, took a shot at Dennis Allen for throwing his team under the bus there. So they're still cranky about that, but nothing earth-shattering there. I think as you look at this Saints defensive front, it seems unlikely to me that they would jump on a pass rusher in the first round. I think they feel like with Granderson and Jordan and Young in tow for this year, that it's likely that's kind of your core starting group. And I just don't know that the Saints are in a position in the first round to take a guy who doesn't immediately come to the field. Now, maybe they've got somebody ranked so high, and Dallas Turner's ranked so high on their board, he's their third-ranked prospect, and all of a sudden you get there in the middle teens, and boom, he's right there. Can I rule that out completely? No. Would I lightly scratch it out in pencil? I probably would. That's I think wide receiver, I should say pass catcher, and certainly offensive line are going to be the two things they address first. I think if and when they make a move on the defensive front, it would feel like it would be someone on the back end of the draft or on the cheap in free agency. Just kind of what it feels like for right now. So that's your black and gold update for the day. If you're looking for Saints content, we've got plenty of it. It's all at Hunt on Saints. It's our Saints YouTube channel. It's all Saints football all the time. Little 8, 10, 12-minute videos. Just subscribe to the channel, and you'll get them right there on your homepage. We certainly appreciate it if you would do that. We open things up today talking about LSU's Pro Day. Big day for Malik Neighbors. Chris DeMui talking LSU baseball. It was a What If Wednesday as well. If you missed any of that, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your sound. Preston Guy on Pro Day after Sports Center on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has $7,500 off MSRP on new 23 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. $7,500 off plus 1.9% financing for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off the new 23 Ram 1500 SCA truck. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $22,500 off the new Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NCAA is drawing a line on sports betting to protect student athletes and the integrity of competition. According to NCAA President Charlie Baker, the organization is proposing a ban on college prop bets in all states. LeBron James out last night with lingering ankle soreness, expected to be available tonight when the Lakers visit the Grizzlies. LA's won 4 straight, currently 9th in the West. ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst.
They have a big task tonight with all these guys playing so many minutes, having to play in a back-to-back in Memphis, because all these games matter at this point. But LeBron didn't play last night. And if he's able to summon some energy and be okay on that ankle to play tonight, that could be a trump card for them. So the Lakers are in much better position than they were just a couple weeks ago.
Brian Windhorst on First Take. Lakers within 2 of 8th place Phoenix. Suns Nuggets tonight, 9:30 Eastern ESPN Radio, 10 Eastern ESPN. Denver's atop the West. Mets, Brewers, and Braves, Phillies opening day games tomorrow postponed because of rainy forecasts. New York, Milwaukee now Friday at 1:40 Eastern. Atlanta, Philadelphia Friday at 3:05 Eastern.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman. Coming up Thursday, will your team make the playoffs? Who's going to win the World Series? I'll give you my predictions for how this MLB season will play out. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary?
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show. The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Hunt Palmer Show from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. Downtown in the capital city. I'm going to start the hour on kind of a bad note. I apologize for this. It wasn't my intention. And I realize that I'm an idiot, but I just have to get my thoughts out on this. ESPN doing a ton of coverage of LSU's Pro Day today, which is great. Great for the brand, great for the school. Malik had an awesome day. Jaden Daniels is going to be a rich dude. All that's super awesome. It makes me a little cranky when they go through the entire highlight package and we're wearing alternate uniforms in like every picture, every highlight. It makes me a sad guy.
The uniform czar is not happy.
He's not. I just don't like it. I'm aware that it has no real effect on anything at all. It just makes me a little cranky. And that's how we've started the hour. That was just that. Well, it's not advisable to start the hour on a negative.
I wonder if it makes Preston Guy cranky.
We'll have to ask him because he's on the Jim's Firearms hotline right now. Preston, are you cranky?
They say T-Bob won Young Professional of the Year. Every time I hear you talking about that, I think you're going for Old Professional of the Year. You and Richard Condon could just get a show talking about uniforms. Let me tell you.
Well, Rich has enough on his plate tweeting at me 15 times a day than to go out there and try to win an award. But yeah, I just I had to get that off my chest. But pretty good day for Malik Neighbors, no?
Oh no, really good day for him. I mean, he runs in the mid 4.3s. Does exactly what he needs to do, measures out. And then has a 42-inch vertical just casually. Proving kind of what we all already knew. He's a freak. Brian Thomas already went out there for the combine and proved he was a freak. We got some good stuff, and then they put on a good display in the passing scale with 58 passes from Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, so I want to talk about a little bit about that in a second, but I do want to talk about Malik. Do you think it's hard for somebody who's mocked like 6th or 7th in the draft to make money on a pro day or to tangibly move up? Do you think he potentially did that today?
I think there's a good chance. I heard, Adam Schefter had a tweet, and we all know how connected he is with NFL GMs and whatnot, about saying after that 40 times saying he might be the number one receiver. The thing is that, yeah, he's going to be a top 16 pick no matter what. But there's some serious competition for that, first receiver off the board this year. You got Rome Odunze, you got Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors right in that mix. a good 40 time puts him right there, and that's about as good a 40 time as you could ask for him. I mean, he's got production at the highest level. He's got the measurables, film, and anything you need. He's going to be right up there. I would say many years it's possible he is your number one receiver, but this is just a year where that receiving class is so stacked. The fact that we're even talking about Brian Thomas Jr. having a 1,300-yard year and then running a 4.33 40 at 6'3", it kind of just shows how deep this receiving class is.
No doubt about it. What do you think about the Saints taking Brian Thomas?
Dude, I would be so excited. Isn't there some sort of legislation forbidding the Saints from drafting LSU players, though?
No, I think they got over that. They drafted Will Clapp, right? They signed Jarvis. They signed Odell. They figured it out.
Does a compensatory 7th-round pick really count? It was fun seeing Will Clapp for the Saints for a while, but I think they signed Traven Durrell, but they don't really pick up very many LSU rookies, although they're signing free agents now. Maybe the taboo's gone. Maybe they've lifted those sanctions on LSU. We'll see.
How big a day was today for Jaden Daniels? Really, really important? Not important at all? What do you think?
I think moderate importance. I mean, he showed what we all kind of knew, and he's got a cannon, and he can connect with some very fast receivers in stride downfield. I don't think he was going to lose or, gain draft stock off today. I mean, how much can you really impress an NFL GM throwing against air in your underwear, to your own receivers? And, if you're off, then it's like, well, I mean, he's just, he missed a couple throws. We have film of him all year. I don't think really there was much. I mean, I'll say this. They did get an official height on him at 6'3", 5'8".
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I didn't know he was going to measure all of that. I thought he might be about half an inch shorter, but some good measurements from him for sure. I was interested to see if he was going to run the 40 time because that's something he could turn heads, but I guess when you've got a top 3 pick locked up, why risk anything there,
You go, hey, you want to see my 40 time? Turn on the Florida tape. There it is. That's right. The 40 time.
Well,
his
75
football yards.
Speed is probably better than his 40 time, don't you think? Just the way he kind of runs, he's an elusive guy. Like I think he is faster on a football field than he would be in a 40.
Those two Florida runs are as aesthetically pleasing quarterback run film as you'll watch. It was just it was ridiculous to see in person that night. Who will be the 4th LSU Tiger drafted this year?
Oh boy! All right, let me think here. Okay, because obviously you got the 2 receivers and you got the quarterback.
Mm-hmm. It's Mason Smith. It's Mekhi Wingo. It's Jordan Jefferson.
I mean Charles Turner's in that mix.
Yeah.
Omar Spates actually had a decent day today with 30 bench reps, but the part that's going to hurt his film just doesn't look like a draftable player. I'll go. I want to say Mason Smith off of measurables, but on tape, Mekhi Wingo is just a better player. Well, let's go Mekhi Wingo, and if someone proves me wrong, I think all those guys. There's a bunch of guys who are like 3rd roundish, 4th roundish type guys, but I'll go Mekhi Wingo, number 18. He's a good guy, and the film is there for him. I think that's a big difference for him and a lot of guys in this draft.
Yeah, Jordan Jefferson had some good film. There's some film from West Virginia. There's certainly some film from here, and he ran a sub 5.40 today. Do you think he's a guy that could go in the middle rounds?
Yeah, no, I think he's one of those guys. I was also thinking about him. I mean, all 3 of those defensive tackles to me look like exactly the same type of grade. Also, I think Jordan Jefferson had one of the highest bench reps at the NFL Combine. He didn't bench today, but I think he had like 30, something like that, 28, 30. So he was like one of the top 3 defensive linemen bench reps. So he had a good showing. No, Jordan Jefferson's a draftable player. And I think there's an argument that he is, both of them have better film than Mason Smith, if we're just being honest. Mason Smith's a guy who was all potential and just never got that production through injury or whatever it may be, just never got there. And I think he's a guy who will get drafted in the same rounds as those guys, despite not having the film, because we see the measurables and we also see the excuses. He had 3 defensive line coaches in 3 years, and then Jimmy Lindsey was out all this year, and he had an interim guy, and the whole defense was kind of just collapsing. I think he's got a lot of excuses and a lot of measurables, but I don't think it's good enough to get him in the first 2 rounds. I think all 3 of those defensive tackles are round 3 or 4 guys.
And we know that they won't be back at LSU, so LSU's got to do its job to restock those shelves. They yesterday announced former Wisconsin defensive end Gio Paez going to transfer to LSU. Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, he's a bigger guy. I wonder if he slides inside and plays defensive tackle, because that's really where they need help at, more so than defensive end. They've got bodies at end, but, you know, do you have production at end is the question. Is Savion Jones going to be that guy? Does Deshaun Womack step up? What about Parrish Shand? You know, can you get one of those guys performing like the guy? And then outside of him, you know, defensive tackle is just brutal. You've got 3 guys out there. You've got a walk-on your second-team unit. Not hating on the walk-ons. I'm just telling you it's not a good indicator. I mean, he technically, you know, I haven't seen enough film on him or anything to say anything bad about him, but I'm just telling you it's not a good indicator. And, yeah, hopefully he can get in and make an impact. It's definitely a guy they needed. I wonder if he can slide interior or if he's going to be strictly an end type guy.
Feels like he's got to go inside. I don't think there's two ways about it. It's just you've got to have bodies in there. Anything else from this week since we last spoke with spring football that we haven't gotten to with you?
Man, I got a good 2 hours looking at the team on Saturday. I'll tell you what, the overall impression is the offense is still ahead of the defense, but unlike last fall camp where it was just, you know, practice after practice after practice of Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier slicing them up. You know, the big difference to me was the defense actually showed a little bit more pride toward the back end of practice and really started to make some plays. Sage Ryan, notably, was a big guy, so it made multiple interceptions. So I'm looking forward to see if this defense continues to show progression. You know, it seems like a year ago we were talking about all their problems and we were being patient, waiting for the progression, and that progression never came. So hopefully with a new coaching staff in place, we will see that progression.
Preston, appreciate the time. Have a great holiday weekend.
All right, hon. Happy Easter. See you later, man.
He's Preston Guy, TigerBait.com. You can find all their stuff on YouTube and, of course, over on TigerBait.com. They got you covered on LSU football and recruiting. We'll shift gears from football. We'll talk a little baseball. LSU beat Southeastern last night. What did I think of it? That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
ESPN Bet, ready to take you through all the huge sports moments this spring. It's my favorite time of the sports calendar, the spring. And this is the exclusive sportsbook of ESPN. Got all exclusive offers for promotion on Scott Van Pelt, on Stephen A. Smith. You got playoff intensity. You got some pretty important golf tournaments coming up. Baseball cranking up. Get out to the ballpark. There's no better time to be a sports fan than the spring. So sign up today. New users get $100 in bonus bets. All you got to do is make one bet, and then into your account goes immediately $100 to make bets of your liking. Download ESPN Bet today. What a play. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in partnership with LeBears Lake Charles. Terms and conditions do apply. See app for details.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink, or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way.
Dance continues this Thursday night at 6 and Friday night at 6 in the Sweet 16. Then Saturday at 5 p.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. in the Elite 8. Listen to the 2024 men's basketball tournament right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
See where you stand on the leaderboard for the $1 Million Bracket Challenge powered by Acura of Baton Rouge and Coors Light at 1045ESPN.com. First place will win $2,024 in cash, and second place gets a 75-inch TV and soundbar, and third place gets a 2-night stay at the Beau Rivage. It's the $1 Million Bracket Challenge powered by Acura of Baton Rouge and Coors Light.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heck, we were talking about this. Like, I would love to watch the Sweet 16 tomorrow night. Like, would be locked into it. Would love it. I can't. I got Hagen Smith and Luke Holman, and I got Cubs opening day against the champs.
It's tough.
There's not enough bandwidth. Like, I can't watch it. Sorry. If there's a super late game that goes to like 11 o'clock.
I mean, I know they play pretty late, so
yeah, I'll be in on that. But like, I can't do it at 6:30. That's for sure. LSU baseball will be on the field at Baum Walker tomorrow. We'll have a full preview from Baum Walker tomorrow. We've got 3 guests from Fayetteville tomorrow. Just happen to fall like that. I think they'll be different, and they're certainly spread out. We'll have Koki Riley is going to join us tomorrow from Fayetteville. That'll be at the top of the show. We'll have Joe Healy tomorrow to talk all things SEC baseball, but he will be in Fayetteville. And then we'll have Chris Blair in his normal spot at 2:15. So 3 guests from Fayetteville. I think they'll all sound a little bit different, but very much looking forward to getting ready for that one. It's a big one for LSU. They go up there on a good note last night, played a solid baseball game, and beat a solid baseball team. Southeastern has a good Southland Conference team. Are they an SEC team? No. Does beating them make some sort of statement? No. Did LSU play a good game last night? Yes. And the biggest takeaway from last night is simply when you look at this LSU pitching staff, right now you have Holman, who's, 8 out of 10? That's fair. If 10 schemes, he's an 8 out of 10. You've got Jump, who's probably right now 6 out of 10. And you've got Hurd, who's probably 5 out of 10. Before you throw your hands up about Thatcher Hurd because he gives up 5 runs every time out, there are teams that have no idea who they're throwing out there on Sunday, week to week. Like, it can be worse on a Sunday. It was worse for LSU on Sunday last year, and they won the national championship. So you've got those guys, and then out of the bullpen, Ackenhausen's like a 7, Herring's like a 7, and Guidry's like a 7, and you feel pretty good about those guys. I'm just kind of throwing this out there. You need some more guys to get up to 6 and 7 out of the bullpen. And this is the group that Jay Johnson has to choose from that need to step up. Justin Lohr, I thought, threw it really well last night. He did give up one hit when runners were on base. It was a 47 hopper up the middle, and that was it. I thought Lohr was pretty good. Cade Anderson, who's struggled in his outings in very tough spots, mind you, against Mississippi State and Florida, got his feet wet again last night, and he struck out 4 in 2 hitless innings. Cam Johnson, gorgeous backdoor breaking ball, still hitting 96 on the gun. I thought Aiden Motvitz's two-thirds of an inning were really good. If you were following me on Twitter, you saw me put this. His line looks bad. 2/3 of an inning, 2 hits and a run with a strikeout. Like, that doesn't look like some sort of great inning on the midweek against Southeastern. But the box score very rarely tells the entire story. He gave up a homer on a ball that was 97 away. Like, it was maybe off the plate away. And kid from Southeastern just lines it into the seats in right field. You got to throw it somewhere. You can't throw it 3 feet outside. 97 away seems like a pretty good pitch, and the kid hit it. And then he gave up another hit on a ball that was down near the knees. Like, I'm not expecting Aaron Nola level control from Aiden Moffitt. But I didn't think like he hung 3 straight breaking balls and hit a guy and it was just a disaster. No, I thought it was a fairly good inning. And then Ulloa comes in and he gives up a homer, which wasn't great. Did get a strikeout. This is the group, and you throw Christian Little in there a little bit, and they continue to go to he and Helmers a lot, and it's been kind of uneven results. But I need 2 more guys from that group of Little and Helmers and Lohr and Anderson and Johnson and Moffitt and Ulloa. That's 7 guys. I need 2. Give me 2. If I get 2 of those guys that are dependable guys you can count on in SEC play, I've now got Holman, Jump, Hurd, Herring, Ackenhausen, Guidry, and the 2 more. That's where it's got to be. And that's been a disappointing development the last 2 Sundays, that LSU has had the back third of the bullpen come out there and just implode. You can't have that. I'm not saying everybody at the end of your bullpen needs to look like Brandon Neely from Florida, who's an All-American. It doesn't have to look like freshman Matty Ott or senior Chris Cotton, guys that were just virtually untouchable when they stepped on the mound. But you need to have 5 guys out of the bullpen that are really good 8 out of 10 times. And that's the hope when you look into these games. So offensively, they put Ethan Fry up at the leadoff spot. He didn't have a great night. He did draw a walk, struck out 1 0 for 4. Tommy White, missile, opposite field home run. Good to see for sure. Travinsky hit it a mile. That's good to see for sure. Mac Bingham has his average up to 301 at this point as he went 3 for 3 last night with an RBI. He hit the ball out of the ballpark. Stephen Milam had 3 hits. I was in Pluckers at this point, so I didn't have the audio and I couldn't tell, but he had the weird bunt play, and I don't know what that was scored. So he hit the ball hard a couple times, and then had an infield hit as well. The prevailing thought is that that's probably a guy you want to send out there more often than not and just try to develop him as quickly as possible. And that moves Pearson out into the outfield. And then with Pearson and Bingham out there, you feel like you've got 2 guys who are at least going to give you an at-bat of a guy that's been in college for 3 or 4 years. And then whether it's Fry or it's Kling or it's Larson or it's Brown, or whoever fills in the next spot, that seems like your best go. And then Michael Braswell got a hit as well and played some really solid shortstop. He made a play going to his right that was really good. He made a play moving in that was really good. He's played a really nice shortstop to this point, and Braswell is hitting .275. Batting average isn't the end-all, be-all. It's all about on-base percentage. I get it, and he's not quite to the extra base clip that I thought he might be after watching him in the fall in the pre-conference. But he's solid. But to the point that I've been making, Braswell's not going to take a huge jump. Pearson is not going to take a huge jump. Bingham, not going to take a huge jump. Milazzo, not going to take a huge jump. Those guys are who they are. Tommy White's not taking a huge jump. It's the other guys that are going to have to fill this lineup in. And it's the same group I just talked about with the outfield. And you know who it is. You know it's Kling. You know it's Neal. You know it's Brown. You know it's Larson. You know it's Milam. Like, this is a rehashed conversation, but it doesn't make it any less true because we said it in February and we said it again yesterday. And every time I see this team, I'm reminded of it. And the question is right now, are those guys going to step forward and become really good players? Keep in mind, to this point in the calendar, and I realize trying to go back and compare everything to College World Series champions is a fool's errand. And basically, if I'm trying to prove a point, I can personally go back and draw on basically any team in the last 20 years and find something to prove my point. But like the fact of the matter is that Mikey Matuk wasn't an everyday player in the middle of March in 2009. Neither was Austin Nola. And they grew into those roles. Josh Pearson wasn't an everyday guy as a freshman 2 years ago on Jay's first team. And by the end of it, he was a very big player for that team. He had 2 huge hits in Hattiesburg. So it's not too late for 1 or 2 of these guys to turn it on. It's not too late for Ethan Fry to be a feared hitter in May. It's not too late for Jake Brown to get healthy and become the guy that they really, really liked in the fall and said, hey, I know you're a really good pitcher, but you're going to hit for this team. It's not too late for Neal or Kling. I know the results right now are terrible, and I also know that y'all are sick of hearing about it. But this is what we've got to talk about. And here's the deal. If none of those guys step forward and Gage Jump is a 5-inning guy and Thatcher Hurd gives up 5 runs every Sunday, it won't be a very good baseball team. And if that's what you'd rather hear, there it is. If those guys perform the way they have for the last 3 weeks, it's not going to be a great year. But the fact remains that there is time for them to figure it out. And you've got a head coach who at 3 different stops, really 4, but really for sure 3 different stops, has a track record of developing offenses over time. And you've got a group of really talented dudes. I'm glad just emotionally, mentally, that they got this win last night, that they played a solid game, that they got a lot of guys some work on the mound, and they had some big swings offensively, because I wouldn't really want to lose a heartbreaker on Saturday, get annihilated on Sunday, lose a mid-major home game on Tuesday, and then go face Arkansas on Thursday. Like, that's not a fun time. So you flush last weekend against Florida. Mississippi State's in the rearview mirror. You've got to win under you. You get on the plane. You go up to Fayetteville, and you say, hey, Holman, go out there and take this average SEC lineup. They're not a bad SEC lineup. They're not as good as Florida. I don't think they're as good as State. Hold them down. Give us a chance. And see what you can do up there at Baum Walker. We'll preview this thing every which way tomorrow on the show. Very much looking forward to that. But that's my piece on LSU baseball. Fourth and Air baseball breakdowns all season long are brought to you by Pluckers Wing Bar, Nicholson just south of campus, and then, of course, on Bluebonnet in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Looking to watch. Hey, you can't. I was saying just a second ago that I can't watch all 3 because I'll be at my house. You want to, you can at Pluckers. You can watch March Madness. They'll have it. You can have LSU, Arkansas. They'll have it. And, of course, you can watch the Cubs opening day if you want because they'll have that as well. It's the beauty of Pluckers. Plus, they got really good food and some awesome cold beer. So get on by Pluckers and watch some LSU, Arkansas this coming weekend. All right, let's take a time out. When we come back, my SEC baseball power rankings. Where are the Tigers? That's next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Platinum Window Tint. Platinum Window Tint LLC is the website. Look, the heat's coming. Still a little cool out, but the heat's coming. We know that. And in those summer months, it's just brutal getting in your car after been sitting out in the sun all day. It's just a sauna in there. You can't prevent that, but you can certainly help it by tinting the windows of your automobile. They can do that at Platinum Window Tint. You get the electric bill, June, July, August. Not great. What if you could get potentially a 30, 40% reduction in those energy costs? Tint your windows at your home or your business. They can do that for you at Platinum Window Tint. Check out all their services, and you can request a free quote right there online. The website, again, is PlatinumWindowTintLLC.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
The Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert. Mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We are coming down the home stretch for the inaugural season of the Baton Rouge Zydeco, now through March 31st, when the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge team is out at Rouse's on Florida or Burbank. Stop by and spin the prize wheel for your chance to win tickets to see the Zydeco live in person at the River Center. For more information and to purchase single game tickets, visit brprohockey.com.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, last week I did some power rankings, and I had LSU third. We have some more information now. We've got another week in the rearview mirror. Some more information to digest. So the question is, where do I have him this week?
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. When you want the definitive, unquestioned pecking order of the SEC, who do you call? Hunt Palmer. Take it away, Hunt.
Beck, would you like me to start at 14 or 1?
Let's start at 1.
We'll start with 1. It hasn't changed. I had a team that was 1-2 in the league at 1 last week, and I've still got them at number 1, and they're 3-3 in the league. I like Tennessee. Their offense, especially in that ballpark at home. Now, they may have some road troubles, but at home, they're really good. They lead the conference in batting average, runs, hits, doubles. They're third in ERA. Now, Billy Amick is going to miss some time. He's their slugging third baseman. He's hurt, but we'll see. Kavaris Tears is hitting .402 with 10 homers. Blake Burke is about to tie Tennessee's all-time home run record. He's pretty salty. So I like Tennessee. I think their staff is good enough. I think they're the best team in the league right now. I think everyone's going, well, why not Arkansas? They're ranked number 1 in the country. I think Arkansas is really good. They lead the SEC in ERA, obviously. They're 5-1. They lead the SEC in opponents' batting average. They lead in hits allowed. They have the fewest walks as a staff. They've allowed the fewest doubles, allowed the fewest homers. They're awesome at that. But at offense, they're 13th in the league in batting average. It's not everything. 13th is not very good. They're 11th in slugging, too. Now, we'll see if that's changing as the weather warms up in Northwest Arkansas, because they do have 12 home runs hit in 6 SEC games. So I'll hold the horses completely on that. I'm not going to go nuts, but I do have them down just 1 peg. We'll see. They're really good, but I've got them at 2nd. This is where I had LSU last week. I had them at 3. I've now got Florida at number 3. I realize they are 14-10. They lost again last night. They have lost 4 or 5 midweek games, I think. They're terrible in the midweek. Florida State crushed them again last night. But they've been good in SEC series. They beat Texas A&M and they beat LSU, and they're 4-2. They got talent everywhere. Cags is a cheat code on Sundays. We've seen enough of Ty Evans over the last 2 years. Colby Shelton hit a big homer against LSU. I like Neely and Slater at the back end of the bullpen. Their question, and I don't know how much of this is midweek, how much of this is Cade Fisher not being great. Like, there are some concerns, but they have the worst ERA in the SEC. Like, at this point, that's not like, they got to figure that's bad. They looked okay over the weekend, but worst ERA in the SEC, I've got them at 3rd. Texas A&M, I've got at 4th. They're 22-3 on the year, 3-3 in league play. Their offense has been very good. They're number 3 in the league in on-base percentage, 4th in slugging, 2nd in walks drawn. And then their pitching staff has great numbers as well. 2nd in the league in strikeouts and ERA and walks allowed. Lavalette and Montgomery are as good as anybody in the country as a 1-2 punch. And then Jackson Appel is hitting 400. Gavin Grahovic had a huge grand slam over the weekend. This is a good A&M team. They could be the best team in the league. Right now I've got them at 4, but they're very, very good. I have LSU at 5. I know you're going to say it's a homer pick. I get yelled at during football season for not being homerish enough. So, whatever the case may be. I know they're 2-4, but I've got them at number 5 in the SEC. The staff does lead the SEC in strikeouts. They're kind of middle of the pack everywhere else. Nothing's like awful. Like Florida's the worst ERA in the league, and Arkansas is 13th in batting average. They don't have anything that looks like that. But they're 7th in ERA. They're 7th in on-base percentage. They're 11th in doubles allowed. They're 6th in home runs allowed. Offense, their batting average is 7th. It's just a lot of 6th and 7th in the league. I think LSU's going to be better moving forward than they are right now. That's betting on the come a little bit. But I got LSU at number 5. Vandy's at 6. They swept opening weekend. They got swept the next weekend, which is a little bit odd. Their issue was offensive against South Carolina. They only scored 9 runs in 3 games. They've also only got 28 home runs, tied for 12th in the league, but they're 2nd in doubles, so they are hitting the ball hard. It's a rotation-driven team. Those 3 guys are going to have to be the dudes for Vanderbilt, and they weren't against South Carolina. They got swept. Mississippi State, I've got at 7. They've got to be happy at 3-3 after playing LSU and at Texas A&M. But next up, they're at Florida, so it doesn't get any easier. The question there is Nate Dome coming back? We'll see, but I got Mississippi State at number 7. Kentucky is 5-1 in league play after 2 weeks, which is very good, but I've got them at 8th. Their schedule is bizarre this year, just in terms of how it's split. Their first 5 is toward the bottom half of the SEC. They played Georgia, they played Missouri, they've got Ole Miss, Alabama, and Auburn to start. And then they finish with Tennessee, at South Carolina, Arkansas, at Florida, at Vandy. So Nick Mingione's crew better chipmunk some wins here and get them real early, because the back half of that SEC schedule is brutal. Number 9, South Carolina. Maybe they're better than this. They're 20-5, 4-2 in league play. They just swept Vanderbilt. Maybe they're not the 9th best team, but that's where I've got them here. They're 2nd in the league in on-base percentage, 4th in runs, 1st in walks drawn. That's really potent offensively. Ethan Petrie, you know about, 345 hitter, got 12 home runs already. And the staff's been pretty good. Number 4 ERA in the league. Maybe I've underrated them at 9, but I've got South Carolina at 9. Auburn's at 10 here. I know they're 1-5 in the league. I do like some of their offensive pieces. Ike Irish and Cooper McMurray are really, really good. And so is Cooper Weiss. He's a nice transfer piece for him. I don't love their pitching, but that's Butch Thompson's baby. He's got to figure it out. They don't have it right now, and that's why they're down this far, and that's why they're 1-5 in league play. They did start with Vanderbilt and Arkansas, which isn't exactly a cakewalk, but I've got them at 10. I got Georgia at 11. I know Georgia just swept Alabama. You're like, they swept Alabama? Well, yeah. I don't know that Wes Johnson has a bunch of dudes that can pitch. They're 12th in the league in ERA. They're 12th in opponent batting percentage. They're batting average, batting percentage. Yikes. Reading your own writing. They're number 10 in strikeouts. They've allowed the most walks. They've allowed the most runs. Like, it's not good. Well, the good news, Charlie Condon could be the first pick in the draft, so that's good news for Georgia. I got Ole Miss at 12. Ole Miss did win their first series against South Carolina, who I've got ranked up there at number 9. They did get a game in Knoxville, snapping an 18-game home win streak for Tennessee, but I just don't think Ole Miss is very good. They gave up 35 runs in 21 innings over the weekend. They tried Gunnar Dennis as their Friday night guy this week. Here was his line in Knoxville as the new Friday night guy. 3 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 10 earned runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Maybe Liam Doyle, who's gotten a couple of nice outings on Saturdays, is the guy. But right now, I don't love Ole Miss's offense. I don't love their pitching. I just don't love their team. I've got them at 12. I've got Bama at 13. Ben Hess is their ace, and he looks very hittable right now. It's hard for me to handicap Bama, though. They did beat Tennessee in a series, who I've got ranked number 1, and I've got them all the way down at number 13. They got swept at Georgia. I don't. It's hard to contextualize that. I know that their offense statistically looks good. 2nd in batting average, 3rd in slugging. They better hit, because I don't like their pitching very much at all. And at the bottom is Missouri, who is just quite simply the worst team in the league. I'm already kind of mentally preparing for the week that LSU goes to Missouri, because everybody is going to say that LSU has to go sweep Missouri. It's hard to sweep people on the road, but Missouri's bad. They're 1-5 in league play. That's your look at the SEC power rankings. I'll run through them one more time from 1 through 14. Tennessee at number 1, Arkansas at number 2, got the Florida Gators at number 3, A&M at 4, LSU at 5, the Vanderbilt Commodores coming in at 6. At number 7, Mississippi State, Kentucky at number 8, South Carolina at 9, Auburn at number 10, Georgia at 11, Ole Miss at 12, Bama at 13, and at number 14 at the bottom, that is Missouri. If you put that into context, what LSU has on the back end of this schedule, Missouri's number 14, Bama's number 13, Ole Miss is number 12, Auburn's number 10. Like, all these are on the schedule coming up. Does LSU play Georgia? I don't even remember if LSU plays Georgia or not.
I'm not sure.
No, LSU doesn't play. They went to Athens last year. They don't play Georgia. So I know A&M is still left to play. I know Arkansas is left to play, and Tennessee is left to play, and those are the teams that I've got up at the top with Florida. But I think LSU still has the bottom of the league left to play, so we'll just see how many wins they can get while they churn through this really tough stretch here in Southeastern Conference play. That's your SEC power rankings. We'll try to do those every Wednesday moving forward now. All right, let's take a timeout, come back and close things out. Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electric. Love my friends over at Boudreaux's Electric. Neil and Melissa have been running that place for 40 years. Got a location down in the 985. Got a location right here in Gonzales as well. If you'd like information on how to protect yourself from power outages, whether you're a business owner who just can't have the power going out because it crushes productivity, or you're a homeowner who doesn't want the power to go out because you live there and you'd like to keep the power on, Boudreaux's Electric can help you out with that. They're a certified Generac dealer. They're a premier Generac generator dealer, top 3% nationwide. They've got this great technology over at Boudreaux's Electric that allows them to monitor your generator remotely. So even if you don't know that there's been a problem, whether the kids are out there and somebody hits it, or there's just a technical problem that happens and you can't detect it, they will at Boudreaux's Electric. They can give you a call, say, hey, there's something up with your generator. Let us come out and fix it, so that when you need that generator to come on, it's right there for you. Have that peace of mind that comes with the Generac generator. And give my friends at Boudreaux's Electric a call. It's 985-397-1562. 985-397-1562. That is Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
He's here. Anyone want a Coors Light?
Oh shoot, I forgot to play the song. I got a guy who can fix this.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is
Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday's Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers. It's LSU Pro Day. We'll have all the recap, and we'll take a look at LSU baseball against Southeastern and the Pels game against the Thunder. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The madness continues this Thursday and Thursday tomorrow, of course, at 6 o'clock on both days with the Sweet 16. Hunt will not be listening, but you sure can. Then Saturday afternoon at 5 and Sunday afternoon at 1 in the Elite 8, right here on your home for the Final Four, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That was incredibly ironic because I heard you say Hunt won't be listening, and I can tell you that I wasn't listening to what you were saying because I was looking at a video on my phone. So
wow.
It was perfectly right on time.
Yeah, nice.
Because I'm not eligible for any of the contests that you talk about anyway.
Well, no, this was just about a weekend play-by-play, though.
Well, that's good.
We'll have all the games. Well, I don't know if we're going to have all of them, but we're going to have a lot of the games for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 right here.
I was watching a video on my phone of Joe Milton at his pro day.
Yeah,
he's running around like a kind of a scramble drill, and then he stops and throws a football as far as he can. Like, we all know Joe Milton can throw it 80 yards.
Yep.
What do we? I guess that's his skill, so that's what you're going to do.
Yeah,
it's like
he's gonna maximize his positives and not his negatives.
If you have the balloon animal guy come out, like he's got to do balloon animals.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like if you've got Joe Milton coming out and people coming out to see Joe Milton, like you gotta throw it 80 yards.
When you go see Garth Brooks, you want to hear the hits.
You gotta hear the hits. Apparently, he ran a 4.55. Like, get this guy in the XFL and like run 4 verticals 25 times in a row.
Let him play tight end though, or so he can play tight end. I mean, he's a freak.
I saw somebody. Oh, it was the old Logan Thomas, the old Virginia Tech quarterback. He still plays tight end in the NFL.
He does.
That's ridiculous. He played. I feel like he played quarterback for a long time for Virginia Tech too. All right, we're about done here. Let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. The Dodgers are reportedly going to sign catcher Will Smith
Yeah.
to a 10-year, $140 million deal that would make him the 4th highest paid catcher in the MLB. Good deal for the Dodgers. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I sent this out on Twitter, so if you follow me on Twitter and then you listen to the show, you might catch a double dip here. Like, the Dodgers are literally like if you play Monopoly and everyone sits down to play at the board game and the 8-year-old at the table takes all the money out of the box, doesn't pay by the rules where everybody gets an allotted amount. He just takes all the money and then plays like that. Like, that's the Dodgers versus Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
They just take everybody they want. Freddie Freeman, mine. Mookie Betts, mine. Shohei Ohtani, mine. They had Max Scherzer last year, mine. Will Davis, take him, he's mine. Like, it's just a never-ending. Max Muncy, mine. It's just never ends.
I think I saw that they've with all these signings, they're spending like $1.3 billion, I think, or something like that.
I mean, it's just, who knows? It's a fun game to play when you can spend a lot of money. I wish the Cubs would spend a little bit more, but I will say that I was yelling for the Cubs to spend more money 3 years ago, and Rizzo has been pretty good. Bryant's a complete disaster, and Baez is like the worst player in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Contreras is still
he's
good,
been
but
mediocre.
yeah, he's like the second highest paid catcher. I think.
So everybody that I wanted him to pay to keep around has been bad. So it would have been bad contracts, and that's what they got him to do with Jason Hayward that just came out. By the way, the Dodgers have Jason Hayward too.
Oh yeah.
So it's like spending bad money is not good either. So it seems the Dodgers spend some pretty good money there.
All right, next one here. Staying in L.A., the Rams signed former Tiger Tre'Davious White to a 1-year deal.
Report.
White will be a comeback player of the year candidate. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I hope so. I mean, he's got to stay healthy. That's just been the deal with him. He was among the best corners in the NFL in Buffalo when he was healthy. It's just a matter of staying on the field. And, I sometimes cringe at the term injury prone. Like, if you have a chronic injury that will not go away and it's the same one, like Ryan Ramczyk at this point, I'm okay with that. But, if you sprain your ankle and then you separate your shoulder and then you dislocate a kneecap, I don't know that that's necessarily should be a knock on you. It's just things happen when people play in sports. Yeah. Trey White's had a couple of different injuries over the years, and hope he's healthy and can help out the Rams. That's a guy that I pull for, obviously, Shreveport guy, LSU guy, an 18 guy. One of the few good memories I have of looking at the field at Lambeau Field was Tre'Davious White having an interception and returning it for a touchdown. Pretty much all the rest of the on-field action was terrible that day, but Shaq had an interception for a touchdown, so that was good. Good for you, Shaq.
All right, last one here. The Cubs trek to the NL Central Championship starts tomorrow. Take it or leave it.
I mean, you got to take it, right?
Obviously.
Got to take it. It's funny. Before I knew it was Easter weekend, I sent a text to my dad and my best bud, who's a Cubs fan, and said, hey, the Cubs open up in Dallas this year. Let's go. This was in early October of last year. And they were like, yeah, let's just get on some tickets and we'll go over there. I'll just drive up to Shreveport. They both live in Shreveport, pick them up, go over there and watch the Cubs play some golf. And then the Rangers won the World Series, and I was like, oh, so we're going to go see the opener for the World Series champs.
Might be a
Dallas.
little pricey.
Could be a tad pricey, and it's Easter weekend, so that's not going to work either. I did see a chart and a graph on Twitter that had the opening day get-in prices, and whoever the Oakland and the Tampa's playing.
The bottom.
It was $7 to get in. The Rangers-Cubs ticket, the priciest in MLB, $286 to get in.
Wow.
So we bailed on that trip. I decided not to do it. So next time the Cubs come to either Dallas or Houston, I may try to make it over there. But not making opening day for the defending world champs at $286 a ticket, plus driving all the way to Dallas. We're gonna pass on that. You want me to pay $286 to go watch the Cubs in the playoffs or to go watch LSU in the College World Series?
That's reasonable.
We'll talk about that. You want me to go drive to Dallas to watch opening day of 162? Going to let the folks of the Metroplex have that one. That's it for today. Fun show today. We had a lot to get to. I've said this every day this week in the last 2 weeks. It's my favorite time of year to do radio in this market because there's just so much going on. Today we opened things up talking about Pro Day. If you missed it, Malik Neighbors had a great day, incredible vertical that was as good as anybody. Saved one person at the NFL Combine, ran a good time in the 40. Jaden Daniels, by all accounts, threw the ball very well. Brian Thomas had kind of his hay in the barn from a testing perspective. So great stuff from those two guys. If you missed that segment to open the show, you can catch it on demand at Hunt on LSU on YouTube. Our YouTube channel for all LSU football is Hunt on LSU. Chris DeMui was with us at 1:15. I asked him straight off the top of the interview, is LSU in some trouble? We had a good discussion there for about 15 minutes, so go back and check that one out. DeMui talking LSU baseball. It was a What If Wednesday. Talked about Caitlin Clark maybe getting a bunch of money, $5 million, to play in some league I never heard of. So that's interesting. and talked about if LSU hits the halfway point at 5-10 in SEC play. Go back and check that out. Dennis Allen met with the media yesterday. Had some audio from him talking about the Saints defensive line. You can always catch that on YouTube at Hunt on Saints. Hunt on Saints, our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, review, comment. All that helps us out a ton. Hour number 2, Preston Guy, talking pro day and some LSU spring football. Of course, from TigerBait.com. He's with us usually on Fridays, but we're not going to have a show on Friday. So we had Preston. My update from LSU and Southeastern in baseball last night, and the SEC baseball power rankings came at you at 2:30 before some take it or leave it. If you missed any of that, you can catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. All of our shows are archived there every single day. Really easy way to catch things on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. It's OTB, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, as well as AFR. You can also catch us on any of your podcast apps. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your sound, you can, of course, get us. Busy day tomorrow. Got to get you ready for LSU and UCLA in the Sweet 16. That's coming up this weekend. We won't have a show Friday to preview it, so we'll do that. Got to get you ready for LSU and Arkansas Game 1 from Fayetteville. We'll do that with Koki Riley. We'll do that with Joe Healy. We'll do that with Chris Blair. And we'll also talk a little Saints with Luke Johnson as well. So busy show coming up tomorrow. Hope you can join us for it. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday. It's been the Hunt Palmer Show.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play.